How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Dynamic Forms Studio. We are back and we are going right into lesson number 3. Lesson number 1 and lesson number 2 has been all about building the figure, which is the first thing we do. So I'm excited to show you guys how we're going to continue to do that on this video. And big thanks to Amaraldo, I think that's how you say his name. He left us a message a comment on YouTube saying that it's okay to do the whole process on camera. I suggested to fill up the other areas off camera, but then he said, and then I asked you guys what you think will be best, to do that off camera or on camera. Oops, sorry. Basically trying to save some time or take the boring parts out of it, but I guess not. I guess it is important to have the whole process done on camera. So I'm not gonna do any shortcuts. I didn't do any work on this sculpture since lesson 2, since video 2. So this is lesson 3 once again, and we're gonna get right into it. Hopefully you already watched the first 2 videos. Hopefully you were able to get to this stage with me, or further along, I'm not sure. And today we're going to accomplish today is we're going to finish building up the arms, the head, and a little other areas around the body, upper torso, and then the legs. We're going to do that today. Okay, we're going to try to finish putting mass, and then we're going to go to the next stage. I'm pretty happy so far. I think I figured out how to work my wax. The figure still stands. Let's just go ahead and leave him right there for now. So that's good. As I said before, along the process, make sure your sculpture still stands every time you are putting more and more material, more and more clay to it. That way you know if the balance is right as you go along. As far as the clay, we are using Castelline clay. I've been messing around off camera because it's been very messy, but I wasn't sure about the right temperature, and I think I got it this time. I'm gonna try to show you guys real quick. Here in the corner, it's kind of like a butter kind of consistency. If you can see here, right here in the little corner, it's kind of a butter consistency right now. Maybe it's too soft, but my skillet is it's on a very low setting. It's just like on the warm, a little bit below the warm setting. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it on a little lower than the warm settings. That way it's not too messy, not too hot, and that's the temperature I'm going to keep the clay going. That way we can easily grab a chunk out of the skillet here, and we're going to work with that. Okay. I'm going to turn it down just a tiny bit because I think it's too soft. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit cooler on the dial here. It's not even on the warm settings right now. So you don't need a lot of heat to keep the material at a very ideal temperature to work with. So make sure you don't go too hot. That way you don't burn yourself and the material is easy to work with. Cool? All right. So let me think here. We're gonna need, again, your alcohol torch. So let me bring this closer to me right here, because we're gonna do more add-ons. We're gonna keep adding material to the sculpture. I'm gonna get my propane torch and let's keep working on it. So I'm gonna light this up, and here we go. Let's get this going. All right, so I want to leave the fire a little bit away from me. That way I don't bump into it as I'm trying to film this and talk to you guys at the same time. We're going to try to keep the lesson right around an hour. So I want to show you guys that this material is really nice. It works really well. It's very hard, and that's what we needed. We needed a hard material to avoid the need of an armature inside the piece, and that worked great. I mean, this material works great for that reason. So let's go ahead and add material to the arms here. So my clay is very soft here. See if I can get a little chunk. I got a little chunk on my spatula here. I'm gonna let cool off for a minute. You can always blow on your clay to make it cool off a little quicker. All right, that's good. So remember, you always want to warm up your sculpture on the fire. That way you have a nice bond between the two pieces you're adding on. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. Very, very careful not to go outside the outline that we did previously. Previously we traced the picture that you see here in the corner, and then make sure when you're adding material you're not going outside your outline, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just pushing the clay back into the outline right here. And if it's too high just push a little bit, just take a little bit off if you feel like, okay, I put too much material, which like I feel like I did right here. Okay, let's warm up a little bit more towards the hand. We're gonna do it again. Warm up our piece. Oops, very soft right now. These are very delicate areas while you're building the figure. Just be gentle. Okay, let's just gently go towards the hand here. That's good. The arm should be pretty quick because, you know, there's smaller limbs. And I'm gonna use my spatula to round it up a little. I noticed that sometimes I go off camera, I go like right here with the sculpture. Sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to film myself, talk to you, and work on the sculpture at the same time, so it's a little tricky. I'll try not to go off camera this time around, so I'm gonna try to be right where I should be. Like, I guess right here is a good place to remember where my hands should be. I'm not the best video editor. I'm not very good at, you know, with technology, so I'm sorry if the video is not fancier, or I hope it's enough for what we're doing. Okay, so see, I'm starting to create some mess around his arm. I'm okay for now here. Let me just warm up a little bit. One thing about the clay, it is extremely sensitive to heat, which is a good thing. You don't have to have a lot of heat to make it melt and go where you want it to go. But be careful not to burn, because I have burned a little bit of the material because I left the tool, the torch or my tool for too long on the fire. So it's sensitive to heat, very sensitive. But it cools off nicely, and it's very hard when it cools it off, which is what we want. Okay. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of material here on the front of the arms. Okay, here we go. That's good. It kind of has like a, you know, when your ice cream is kind of melting a little, that's kind of the consistency of this material. So if you're curious to know what does it feel like, it's kind of like a melting ice cream kind of feeling. It looks like that to me. I can maybe do a close-up and show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna do much more here on the arm. I think that's good for now. So I'm gonna try to get closer to the camera here. I'm not sure what the consistency of the clay is. I'm gonna warm up a little bit. Let me just warm up the sculpture. That's good. So, see, it feels kind of like a little bit of a melting ice cream kind of texture. Kind of grainy for a moment, but then when it cools off, it's not grainy anymore. It's very interesting. No idea what they use for this, but it's an interesting material. Okay, so because I'm working on this delicate area, I'm warming up my knife and the material on the fire here, and very gently working around it. I'm not pushing too hard because it is a delicate area right now. Okay, let's do some on the back of the arm. I'm gonna warm up some clay here on the fire. Just push it nicely here. Always remove if you have too much material. Remember to remove it quickly before it hardens. Here we go. As you can tell, I didn't warm up this area on the fire here, so not good. You have to do this. It's very important to avoid delamination or the sculpture from breaking. Once more, I am not worried about anatomy, but I am worried about not going outside my outline that we previously created. Okay, here we go. Hope you guys can see how the material behaves once you have it all warmed up. Oops. Good. Working with your hands is always great. Because my outline is hard, I can push it in and bring the volume within the outline. That's what you want to keep. It's good. Okay. Okay. All right. So we gave him a little bit more of arms at this point. See, now they're not as flat as they were before. But he's still too skinny. So let's put a little bit more on this arm. Keep going around your sculpture, keep looking where you feel like, okay, I could add a little bit more here and there. Keep doing that until you feel, but don't go too heavy on your add-ons. Always go, it's better to go slowly than put a big chunk and lose all the shapes of your outline because you added too much material. Okay, so there you are. That's pretty good for now. That's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the head a little bit. Let's put some material. Maybe we can get a head shape going, because right now it's pretty flat. Looks like a cookie. Let's warm that up. again. That's good. I'm gonna use my hands this time. And we're gonna go slow. No need to hurry at this stage. You don't want to break your outline. You don't want to damage anything if you don't have to, because you want to keep the sculptures as solid as possible. You don't want to be doing repairs at this stage. At this stage, you want to add clay to it on a slowly manner to avoid breakups and avoid having to fix your outline right off the bat. If it happens, it happens. No, it's not the end of the world. You want to make sure you keep working, but you can always fix it, right? If something breaks while, like if the head comes off while you're trying to do this, don't freak out. Just warm up both sides and glue it back together. But the key is to be patient and avoid that from happening. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on the back of the head here. Try to pick up a little lump. See, it's a little less messy if you don't have the clay too wet, too liquidy. So I like that. It was very messy yesterday. Okay, there we go. Starting to look like a head. That's good. Oops, sorry, bumped into my rig. I've noticed that sometimes the microphone, I have an external microphone plugged in to my camera. I mean, this is not a camera, I'm just using my phone. So that's why the quality is not great. And I'm sorry for that, is what I have. But I did plug an external microphone hoping to have better quality as far as hearing my voice. But I've noticed that sometimes it's been glitching. It's been doing like some pops on the sound, and I'm sorry, I have no idea why it does that. I know that it goes away after a while, so that's good. At least it's not the entire video with, you know, the popping sound on the background. Okay, so let's make sure our figure still stands. That's good, it does stand. Oh, much better now. Look, if you keep the temperature at a warm to the touch, very comfortable and warm to the touch, it won't be as messy. As you can see, my gloves are not as messy as they were before. It still has this stickiness. Can you hear it? So it's sticky. If you don't have gloves, no big deal. You don't need them, but it will leave this stickiness on your hand. Let's do more here on the forehead. I'm adding volume, but I'm trying to stay within that outline again. I don't want to go like outside my outline that we did, the previous outline. I'm going forward and backwards right here. See, it doesn't look good, right? That's okay, no big deal. We're not worried about looks at this point. Your main focus would be keep your sculpture consistent, and don't go outside your outline, your previous outline. Okay, I think that's good here on the back. That's enough for now on the back here. We'll do a little bit on the front, a little bit more on the face. I don't know how long this video will be. We're trying to stay within an hour. If it goes any longer than an hour today, that's okay. We are trying to accomplish the building. I want to get the building done today, which means I don't want to be adding more clay. I want to get to the point that we can start worrying about the next phase. So there's what I'm doing. I'm not worried about, once again, I'm not worried about anatomy or anything. It's just a little lump, see, to look like a head. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the knife clean, and I'm just going to run my knife around the head for a little bit. Get all the little gaps gone by warming up the knife and melting the clay here. I'm gonna try to see, there's no detail going on here. It's all about making it a little cleaner just for a moment. You do not have to worry too much about anatomy. Just worry about making it a little cleaner. Make sure you patch all of those little gaps where the clay didn't. If there's any holes or little areas that the clay didn't go into, you can fix that by doing what I'm doing right now. It is very tricky to get the size of the head right, but we're going to try to be as precise as we can when it is time to get the proportions right. And that's when you're going to need your compass. Remember my first video about material and tools, I talk about getting a school compass, one of those little compass that we have it in school for the kids or for you when you're going to school. Just make sure you get one of those. We're gonna need it. Okay, so I'm just gonna work on the chin here real quick. And just for fun at this moment, we're gonna go ahead and put the, let's see here, I don't know what it's called, but I'll show you guys. Okay, so a head normally has a little bit of this right there. Just get your thumb, run your thumb on the sides of the cheek right here like this, just for a minute. Not much, just a little. I'm gonna warm up my knife. As you can tell, I sculpt standing. I'm not sitting down. If I'm sitting down, my elbows are hitting the table all the time. So if I'm standing, I feel it's a little easier to hold the figure in the air and just work around it. Okay, so I'm gonna hold here on the head and just do this. Are you guys seeing what I'm doing here? I'm just running my knife. Oops, try to be on. See, I just ran my knife. Just warming up my knife. I come from the back towards the front like this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. I'll do it to the other side real quick. And that's good. right. That's good. So it's kind of an oval shape. Hopefully you can see right there. See, it's just an oval shape. That if you look from the top, your head should look like an oval shape, where the bottom of the egg is on the back of the head. And then oval. Okay, just do an oval shape right there. Okay? That's all I'm doing. Warm up my knife a little bit more. Let's make sure our figure stands. Yep, it does. So that's good. I know the head is not too big that is tipping the sculpture over. I'm gonna remove a little bit of the material here, just because I think I went too strong on the chin area. Okay. This looks like I had to me, like we're going in the right direction. Not too worried once more, but you don't want to go too off as well. Try to show you guys real quick, a little bit closer to the camera, what I did. See right there? Remember, if you look on the top, if you look on the top of the head, it should look this, it should have this oval shape, looks like an egg. Okay? There we go. And then put your figure standing for a minute, right there. You put your figure standing like I did right here. I'm trying to do this on camera so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. Then you're gonna get both of your thumbs right here on the temple of the head, okay, right here, and you're gonna give it a little squeeze, just a little, not much. Just give it a little squeeze. Very gentle, nothing major, just a little squeeze, okay? So go ahead and give it a little squeeze around the temple, on top of the cheeks here. See, I didn't go too crazy. I just pushed in a little bit here and a little bit here. So got both your thumbs. Try to be as precise as you can and push it in just a few, just a little, not much. Okay? Oops. Let me bring my alcohol torch back on. I'm going to remove a little bit of the material on this side because it's kind of going outside our outline. At this point, our outline, it's starting to disappear. Okay, now if you look at the head real quick, all I'm going to do, I'm going to shave it, like imagine you're shaving, okay, from top down. So I'm going to shave it in an angle, like on this angle right here, on this angle, but not much. It'll be this angle right here, but not much. So you can cut it or you can just push it in with a warm knife. I'm going to try to do it on camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Just right here, I'm going to go ahead and give it a little angle. Okay, and I will cut it, watch. That's it. See right there, I just made a little cut on that side, and we'll do the same on this side. So I'm gonna warm up the knife and try to look. I'm gonna look, let me see if I can do this like right here. So I'm looking on the other cheek. I just wanna make sure I keep it as symmetrical as possible at this point. That's good right there. All right. Come on in with your hands, push it in. Let me show you guys what it's looking like. Just trying to give a little bit of a shape. but not much. So now, I just want to make sure we'll do like a little, just a little rehearsing here, nothing for real. Okay. Looking at my reference picture there, and we're going to remove some of the material here just for a little trial. I know it looks awful. Don't worry. It's just a little trial. We're just trying to keep things in the right place for now. We are not trying to get the shapes extremely precise. Right now we're just playing around, making sure we have the right things in the right place. All I'm doing is just a little cut in for the mouthpiece on the helmet. Bring it closer. It looks awful, but don't worry. It's just so we can have an idea where things should be. Let me get a little bit of clay, and we're gonna work on this helmet a little bit more. Maybe I will end up using a different kind of material to do his, what do we call, fan? I don't even know what we call that, but maybe I'll use a plastic called styrene. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's the kind of plastic, you can find it at any hobby store or craft stores. It's the kind of plastic that is used for creating models, little models. So we can use that later if we want to, or we can just, you can use anything you can get your hands on to do this. Straight line here with the, like I said, I don't know if it's called a fan or fan, I don't know. You guys correct me on the comments later. So now look, I am not going to warm up on the fire both pieces, and I'll show you why in just a second. Because at this point, all I'm trying to do is get the shape of the head on this piece of clay right here. So all I'm going to do is lay it right there like this, and it won't glue if I don't warm up. See, I don't want it to glue. So I just wanted to get the shape right, and it worked. So now that I did that, now I'm going to warm up on the fire. I'll do the same thing here for this little piece. So we have good connection here, good bond. Good. That worked. There we go. It's way off, but that's okay. It's just so we know where things should be. If you want to clean up a little bit, you can. Let's clean up a little bit. So use your knife nicely, and you can just cut it. Because it's not that thick, right? It shouldn't be that thick. So. It's very thick now, just so we can work on the shape. Work on the shape first. It's okay if it's too thick, at this point because we're just trying to get the shape right. Excuse me. Let me have a sip of water real quick. I hope you guys are liking the videos, the lessons. Actually, I think we are moving along really fast. I'll be honest with you guys. It takes me so long to do anything. There you go. We're doing a little bit of work on the helmet, but it's not precise. We're not trying to be precise. We're just putting things where we think they should be at this point. And don't worry if it doesn't look too neat. This is not the point that we make things look neat and right. It's just, everything is just for reference at this moment. Okay, we'll do the same thing here on the other side. I'm gonna cut it a little. See, the reason why I love working with materials that don't need armature is because look at the freedom you have. You can move your sculpture in any angle. If you have this attached to a board, right there, boom, and then you have like a wire coming out of the back, man, good luck with that. Just saying, that doesn't appeal to me at all. I know people will say, but this is the way it should be done. I mean, not really. You can kind of do whatever you want, in my opinion. This is just free art. But man, I just love the freedom that I have when I'm sculpting. Look, I can flip it upside down. You can do whatever, and you can work in the little corners here. If you have this stuck to a table, you're gonna be having a really hard time to get under here and then under there. I mean, come on. This is so much better, guys. So find yourself a material that eliminates the armature and you will be so happy. You go straight into your sculpture. You're not worrying about trapping that wire with aluminum foil and oh my gosh, I can't even get started. When I first saw that, I'm like, no, there must be a better way. This is not the best way to do this. Sure enough, I found harder materials that you can use that are so much easier to work with, and I love it. So at this point, I'm enjoying the freedom that I have. I love this clay. I can tell right now, it stinks. Not gonna lie, the smell is awful, especially if you start boiling this thing. It smells awful. So the smell, no, I would have to give them. I wish they would. I hope they improve that. I can maybe send them an email, say, hey, can you guys do a little something about the smell, because it's just too strong and it's not a good smell. But I'm loving how forgiving it is, how easy it is to warm up just a little bit, go back there and move things around. I'm loving that about this clay. So maybe I'm gonna ditch all the other clays that I have, and Castelline will be my number one. I don't know. I have tried so many different clays, which is fun. It's fun to try something new, some new material, but man, this one I'm really, really enjoying. I like CX5. I like Monster Clay. I have worked with Super Sculpey, because man, Super Sculpt is so cool. You can do amazing details. You can achieve so much with that clay, but it's not firm enough. Even the firm version, it's not that firm, and you have to cook it. You got to put it in the oven, and that part doesn't appeal to me. Again, I just love love how we can just work with something like this right here, and it works great. Just get yourself this clay or something similar that doesn't require an armature, and I think you're going to be pretty happy. So at this point, I'm just going around detailing the helmet as much as I can. I want to make it a little thinner, but see, I'm not hurrying. I'm not just boom, cutting a big chunk right off the bat. I'm just going slowly. I'm not in a hurry. You are not in a hurry. We can just take our time and do it nicely. I don't know who created this design, the Ultraman design, but I love it. When I saw this on TV when I was a kid, I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so neat. Ugh. And then I was in preschool, and then one of the kids came to school with a drawing of Ultraman, and his brother drew Ultraman for him, and it was very dynamic. It looked like one of those nice comic books kind of drawings, and I was hooked. I'm like, man, what is this superhero? And I remember the friend saying it's Ultraman. You can watch it on TV. And I got home and I found out which channel was playing the show, and I got hooked. I loved it. It didn't last for too long because, you know, other things came along. But but I loved it when it was on, and it was a lot of fun to watch this character. And he grows and he becomes tall. It was so cool. I loved it. There's one previous hero. It's Spectraman. Oh my gosh, that one is also unbelievably amazing. It's probably what I'm gonna sculpt next. Spectraman. It's so cool. I like it. See, I went too crazy and I kind of bend it a little. Man, it was so neat to watch these heroes on TV. And I think we're so stuck nowadays with the same heroes, you know, from Marvel and DC. There's so much more out there that we don't even know about. I'm pretty sure there are people that are like, well, what kind of superheroes? I've never heard of it. Especially the new generation. I don't know, maybe they have heard of it because Netflix has come with a new series, which I already watched. I loved it. I thought it was really cool what they did with the character. They kind of modernized. I don't love the design of the suit, but I get it. They gotta go high tech nowadays. They can't just go too, you know, too old fashioned. Although they do show the old Ultraman on the show multiple times. The old design. That this design is actually a modern one. The previous design is even cooler. But the series was really cool. So if you want to try something new, and then right here it's not like that. It's actually straight. So I'm gonna cut this part off like right there. Okay. So this was just to play around. I'm gonna try to show you guys what I'm doing right there. So this was just to play around and show where things should be. I'm not worried about if it's exactly how it should look. But oops. So it came loose. So what I'll do, I'm just gonna use my alcohol torch. See, it came loose right there, which means I didn't have good adhesion, good bond between the two parts. So I'm gonna warm up with my alcohol propane torch and bring it down. That's good now. Pretty sure it's better connection now. Now it's very soft. I gotta go very gently here. I'm not gonna go too much thinner at this point because if I do, that will actually damage it because it's supposed to just be there as a reference at this point. And then I'm gonna pull a lot of references. So go ahead, go online now. After we finish this lesson today, you're gonna go ahead, go online and look for Ultraman pictures, reference pictures, okay? And one thing that you're gonna notice about the helmet is that the front of the helmet is a little bit bigger than and it doesn't cover the whole head. So I'm gonna take a little chunk here out because his head is actually a little bit smaller than the helmet. And we can work on the design of the helmet later. Again, these are all references for now. Very loose. It's just so we have an idea where things should be. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to flip them upside down. There's a little gap on the back of the neck, and I'm going to melt it and make sure I have a good bond. He burns quickly, so you can't get too close with your torch because you will just burn the material. Okay, it's been 46 minutes. 45 minutes, 46 minutes now since we got started. So let's make sure we come to a stop here pretty soon. Again, the front helmet is a little bit bigger than the head, so I'm just tracing and removing a little bit of the material around the front of the helmet. That's all I'm doing. So I can use this part of the knife here and just go and do like this. Remove a little bit. That is good. That's very good. Okay. That looks right. It's still a little warm, so I can use my hands on the back of the head here. And then as far as the neck, I want to do something different. Let's just take a look right now what it's looking like. Right now, like this, right? Sorry about the lighting, not great. Okay, remove this out of the way. So we have the white surface to give us an idea what it's looking like. There you go. Very rough, right? Most sculptors wouldn't even show you this stage, but it's very important for you to see how this works. See? Very easy. We didn't do much. We're getting there. We're getting the right shapes in place. So I'm just showing you guys what it's looking like so far. Okay? So far, I'm happy. I think the proportions are looking good. The shapes will need a lot of improvement, but the proportions are spot on. Let me just do this here real quick. Clean my knife again. At this point he has no neck. The head is very close to the torso, so we're gonna have to work on that later. I'll show you guys how we're gonna fix that and how you can fix yours at home as well. I'm just trying to remove a little bit of the material here because I can tell I could improve the shape, but that's okay. I can just remove down here, from down here a little, and then add to the top of the head. It's still warm and soft, so it will bond nicely. Smushed his helmet here, so. I'm working a little bit on the shape, and this will be your job. Your job is to look at references and see, okay, the back of the head needs to go up, the back of the head needs to go down. You're gonna have to study it and figure out where you need improvement on your sculpture, okay? As far as shapes and forms. See, I can tell that mine has a lump here that looks like a bump. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it and add a little bit to the top because I think I took too much off the top. Try to fix this real quick. And let's talk about the next lesson. I think on the next lesson, we're gonna clean up the sculpture a little. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the hot sanding technique. So for the next lesson, you're gonna need those sanding sponges that I talked about on the materials needed for the job. So go ahead, get your hands on those, and we're gonna use it on the next class. I'm gonna show you guys how to use the hot sanding technique. I have shown this previously online, but we're gonna do it again because now we're doing a new sculpture. So I'm gonna show it again. I'm gonna share with you guys how I clean up the sculpture. Okay, let's go ahead and try to smooth things out here. Just with the knife being hot, I'm gonna try to smooth things up. See, it's kind of like a ice cream melting consistency. It takes shape very quickly once you have your knife warm and hot. Okay. I'm gonna twist a little because I think you need a little twist. That's good. That's looking better. Let me fix the helmet here real quick. I'm gonna show you guys in a little bit. Just give me a second and I'll bring it up to the camera. On my next video, again, your job will be to find a lot of Ultraman. If whatever you're sculpting alongside me, if you decided to go with a different character and all you're doing is following the techniques, that's totally fine. But go ahead, go online and find as many references as you can of the character. Profile, standing, in whatever pose you like. It's time now for us to start looking for references. Okay, and I'll do the same. I'm gonna pull up a bunch of references so we can work on the next step, which is cleaning up the figure, and then we're gonna try to pose it as well. Because right now, this is a very stiff pose and it's nowhere near the final idea. So let me just cut it right here. Cut his helmet right here. That's good. He's got those side. We're gonna work on that later. It's been almost an hour. I think we have another 5 minutes. I want to keep the videos right around an hour each time. That way you guys can go do other stuff. Don't get stuck here for too long. I know you can pause it and come back at it any time, so. But I also take a break. Normally I take a break so I can rest my arms from, holding this for too long. Rest my back for a minute or two as well. Very good. I have no idea what the shape is of the little earpiece that he has. I'm going to do this just for the heck of it, but we're going to look at references and get it right next time. Okay? This is just, it's not the right thing. It's just to show that it is there. There is something there. Warm up my knife nice and hot again, so I can work on this other side. Look how many angles I can work for not having that armature holding my sculpture. So keep that in mind. You are going to be able to do so much more, so much faster for not having those wires on your way. Okay, this character is fun because we're not going to have to sculpt eyes, we're not going to have to sculpt ears, like anatomy, talking about anatomy, okay? Okay. Let me show you guys what it's looking like right now. There you go. Sorry again, the lighting is terrible here in my studio. But you can see what we're trying to do, right? We're just trying to have a reference where things should be. I'll show you how it's looking, this profile is looking. There you go. There you go. We're getting there. Let's see here. Maybe we can try it. Let's make sure it stands. And he does. That's awesome. He's standing just fine. I'm gonna put the eyes real quick. Just to be there. Like again, it's an oval shape. The eyes they look like an oval shape to me, so. Too high. Maybe too low. Alright, this is just a quick reference. Don't judge me at this point. We're not doing any detailing or any precision as far as what it should look like. Oh boy, this looks fun. Anyways, there you go. It's just for fun, just so it's there. Okay? Looks like a bug now, but that's okay. Okay, let me get this off here. I'm gonna show you guys one more time what it's looking like right now. Gonna spin it around. There you go. It's coming along, guys. We're gonna clean all this up on the next video. We're gonna maybe add a little bit here, a little bit there, clean it all up. Maybe start worrying about anatomy on a higher level. Let me bring this turning table here. If you can get yourself a little turning table, that's really helpful because you can always, you know, do like a 360 of your sculpture and see how it's coming along. You can look at the whole piece. Oops. The feet need work so it doesn't fall, but we know the sculpture stands on its own as long as we're not shaking it around. But there you go, guys. Just moving it around for a little bit so you guys can see what it's starting to look like. Okay, so our Ultraman is coming to life. We put a helmet on and that helps. Cool. Thank you again for watching the video. Feel free to ask me any questions. Please subscribe, support, whatever you can do to help me. I greatly appreciate it. Share the video. Feel free to ask any questions. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll probably see you again next week. Happy New Year, everybody. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.